Good evening and welcome to the state preview for UIL State Volleyball 2025. I am Sunny Strickland from Big Spring High School and I'm TGCA's Vice President this year. We're going to introduce our panel guests. First is going to be Coach Rudd.
Hi guys, I'm Katie Rudd. I teach and coach at Frisco High School and have been there since we've opened up and we are 11 years old. I'm the head volleyball coach and have been in Frisco ISD for 22 years.
Okay, thank you. And Coach Wallace.
Hey guys, I'm Kara Wallace. I'm from Bluff High School. I have been there about 20 years as well, and I'm the head volleyball coach and I teach there too. Just have a good time.
Right, thank you. Coach Gay, sir, Coach Gay, Mr. Coach Gay.
Yeah, Nicholas Gay. I'm at Brock High School. Been there for 5 years and excited to do the state preview show. And excited to call the 2A, 4A, and 6A matches this week. I think Coach Rudd is also calling some 2A, 3A, and 5A. So be real fun.
Awesome, awesome. All right, and Coach Branch.
I'm Coach Branch from Wall. This is my 24th year in education, but my first year at Wall. So,
Oh, awesome.
yes.
Thank you. And then we also have Miss Coach Gay.
Hi, I'm Claire Gay. I'm at Aledo High School. This is my 9th year here. Before that, I was at Decatur for 10. So I'm excited about this weekend, and I'm excited about all these teams that we're about to see play in this awesome state tournament up in Garland, Texas.
Awesome, awesome. And a little bit later, we're also going to have Coach Terry Wade from the Woodlands, who's going to come in and discuss some of the teams there as well. All right, are you guys ready to get started? We'll start with 1A. So our 1A matchup tomorrow is going to be Water Valley and Blum. Water Valley is coached by Soli Quiroga, and they have made 9 tournament appearances, and this is Soli's first year at Water Valley. Water Valley's won the state tournament in 1986 and 2011. And Blum is Lauren McPherson. The Lady Cats have made 7 tournament appearances, and they have won the tournament in 2022 and 2023. Has anybody gotten to see any of the 1A matches?
Just from I was able to play Blum last year. Lauren McPherson is the coach, and her daughter Kinsley has kind of been her #1 kid, and I think as a freshman she won it, and so I think this year after talking to her, she's hoping to ride off into the sunset. Her daughter's going to go play in college, and she's retiring from coaching to be able to go watch her. But they're just a very solid team. Kinsley's kind of the go-to kid, but they have a bunch of other kids that just work real hard. They have a soccer player. They don't have soccer at Blum, so she decided to play volleyball, and she's their setter this year. They have a couple of younger sisters from that state championship team back in 2022 and 2023 on the team. So they have a really good team in 1A.
Awesome. Okay. I know.
And I think that Kinsley, wasn't she the state MVP her freshman year?
Yes, she was the state MVP. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, they obviously
Awesome.
they've have experience at the state tournament. They've got a leader in their senior outside that, knows what it takes to get the job done. But, you never can count out Water Valley because they have a very substantial program that's been around a long time. They've had a lot of success as well. So I think that this is going to be a really, really fun and exciting matchup. And anything about 1A volleyball, it's so physical, like compared to years ago. And, they do such a good job with keeping everybody involved in the hustle plays that happen. These kids play all the sports. So you got to know that they're really good at a lot of things. And so what they bring to 1A volleyball state finals is just such athleticism. So I'm excited about this match for sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry. We played Water Valley earlier on in the season, and they're a scrappy little team. They did not back down from us, and They've got some hitters, and they've got, like I said, they're just scrappy. They play scrappy. They play with lots of energy. I know Blum is there at the state tournament or deep in the playoffs year in, year out. So I'm excited to watch this one actually.
Right. Yes. No, I saw Water Valley play Forsan for a warm-up match before the playoffs, and
Uh-huh.
they're very scrappy. They're smart offensive wise, and so it should be a pretty good game. Pretty
Yeah.
good. All right. Let's go on to 2A Division One. So that's going to be Jewett Leon with Nakona.
I
Um, Go ahead.
I ended up playing Nakona the very first match of our season this year, and Sandy Langford was originally at Nakona, went to Glen Rose, and coming back to Nakona. I think it's the first time back to the state tournament since 2012 when she was there,
Mhm.
and we ended up winning in five. But I told her, I was like, this team could win state. Like they just had all the pieces, but I just knew with Sandy's coaching style and how she develops and Coach Cabish from Henrietta is on the staff as well. So they really have two head coaches
Mhm.
on that Nakona team, and they're just they're sound defensively, and they have some hitters that could get up and go.
Yes. Nakona's had 8 state tournament appearances.
Yeah.
And Sandy does a really good job. She's here at Leon is been at the state tournament a ton of times. They have a lot of history. So again, it's going to be a great match. I think that this is a really good Division One. This is Division One, right?
Division One, yes.
Division One matchup, and I think that both schools have that history. But yeah, I love the way Sandy coaches. She's family first, team first, and that's really how the girls play. But what a match this is going to be, because Hugh at Leon again is just, they've got so much history here at the state tournament.
I was gonna say, how many years has Leon been there?
31 years.
Yes. Yeah.
31 years,
I played
and
him
they
in my state championship game, and that was over 20 years ago. I mean, it was forever ago. They've been going
yeah,
forever.
they've won it 10 times. The most recent time was in 2015.
Did they beat Crawford? Is that who they beat that year? Pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
So
what a match. That's going to be so fun to watch and just
yes.
exciting. And I think both schools travel very well as far as like crowd goes. And so I think they're just going to it's going to be electric for sure.
That is true.
Claire and Nick, I agree with y'all. I think Sandy does a phenomenal job. I'm excited for her because I know she's put a lot into this, and I mean every coach has, but her style and I just think it's a good fit, and I'm excited to see this one. But like I said, the history of Leon, there's something to be said about experience, and so it should be fun.
Absolutely. And that's what time is that match, Sunny?
That one is at 3:00.
3:00.
No, sorry, 5:00. The first match, the 1A is at 3. This one's at 5:00.
Perfect.
And then the 2A Division 2 will be at 7.
Got it.
Oh, speaking of Division 2, that's going to be Crawford, which is Jeff Coker, the Lady Pirates. They've been there 9 times. Most recent win was in 2024. And they're going to be playing Iola with Jamie McDougald. Thank you. 15 tournament appearances, and most recent win was in 2023.
Now, did Crawford, is that who they played last year?
Yeah, it's a rematch.
It's a rematch. So this is going to be fun. We got to play Crawford this year in a tournament in Greenberry. And I think that Jeff Coker does a really good job. He's extremely disciplined. His girls are extremely disciplined. They're very much in a routine every single day. They have, he works really hard to create an atmosphere there that they just really respect him, and they respect their coaching staff. And they walk in, they've kind of got some clout about being a Lady Pirate from Crawford, Texas. So,
Yes.
it was fun to watch them play. I think that he graduated a couple big pieces last year, but like watching the just team chemistry happen on the floor on the other side of the net when we played them, it's really impressive. They really just work really together, like so well together. And then they're exceptional servers. And it's really impressive to have teams that can serve like so spot on at any location on the court. We were struggling against their short serves, but I know that, like, you know, in the second set he switched to like deep corner serves, and they all could hit it very easily. So, you know, I'm pretty sure it's a very disciplined task for them, but I'm impressed with how well that they served against us and kept us out of system a handful of times. So they were a lot of fun to play, just because their energy on their side, their excitement. Watching Jeff, you know, jump around too is always really fun. So
Yes.
this is going to be a fun rematch. And just Jamie, like at Isle or at
I'll,
yes, thank you.
Iola.
She's so prestigious. You know, she's got so much history there. And like these girls they grow up wanting to play for her. And so they're going to give it their very best in this match because they have a coach that they just love and believe in. And, you know, she always has them ready to go. She also is a big routine follower. So, man, this is going to be such a rematch. I unfortunately didn't get to play them this year, but yeah, I'm excited about this one for sure. So, tomorrow night at 7 is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wears the sparkly jacket.
Yes, let's go, Jeff. Bring the sparkly jacket back.
Yeah. Crawford's been battle tested. They played Lindsay in the playoffs, and then they had to actually have a reverse sweep against North Hopkins, being down 0-2, and came back and won in 5, and then ended up being a good Winthorst team in 4 to make it. And I was talking to him earlier, and because I'm calling that game, and he only has one kid returning in the same role as last year. So there's a lot of youth and a lot of switching positions around. And then Iola, they lean on their 2 outside hitters, Shaylee McCown and Cami Hoyle. But both teams run a 5-1. Both teams, their defense is kind of like their calling card. So I'm expecting a really long rally type of game where you're going to see a bunch
Big
of great
blockers.
defensive plays.
yeah,
Yes.
Jamie was in, I was in her district a few years ago, and uh, she's fun to coach against, but just the history she has, because she's from there. And so, like, I think we talked about it being like a family, and those girls really grow up wanting to play for her. Like, she's known most
For
of them
sure.
probably since they were infants. And so, having that kind of chemistry, you know, that speaks volumes. But, you know, going against Crawford, that's always going to be, again, there's history in both programs. So, that should be a fun matchup.
I agree. I agree. Okay. So then moving on to the next day will be the 3A Division 1 is going to be playing at 11 a.m. And that is going to be Goliad, which is Coach Jess Odom. They have 9 tournament appearances. They won in 2017, and they were at the state tournament last year in 2024. They're playing Bushland, which is Jason Culpepper. They have 13 tournament appearances. They won the state tournament in 23 and 24. They have several wins, but those are the most recent ones, 23, 24.
I watched that their state semifinals game against Ponder, and you want to talk about a barn burner. They went to that fifth set, and it was anybody's game. But I think just their discipline and their experience. I mean, that's gonna be a tough team. They play with tons of energy, and like I said, that just having been there before is gonna be that they are a fun group to watch. Very disciplined.
Yes.
You know, I haven't seen Goliad, but you know, just I mean, both programs again, you know, they have that history that's gonna make it an interesting matchup.
So I have seen Goliad play, and I think they're hungry for a win because they got swept last year by Bushland. So it's a rematch again. They kind of
Yes, you
have like
did.
a little fun little banter that goes back and forth. And they are I mean, they are a force to be reckoned with, in my opinion. They're very gritty this year. They've got their liberos going to blend. They have an East Texas A&M middle blocker commit that she just carries them. They got a big outside that swings, and they just play really, really extremely well together. They have are like tried and tested. They've gone to all these big tournaments to try to get a lot of exposure. Losing to like Friendswood, people that have been, you know, that went deep in the playoffs, and so like Justice does a phenomenal job. We usually play him every year. Our district this year was so big we didn't get to play him, but yeah, they're good. And then of course Culpepper's he's just a veteran. He like lives at the state tournament. Probably has
Yes.
his own box
He has a
seats there. I don't
suite.
know, but so he's fun. You never know when he's going to pull out of his sleeve to try to win. But it's definitely going to be, I think, one of the best matches to be able to watch. They got a lot going back and forth between them.
Yes, I agree. Goliad has a lot of energy. From what I remember watching them last year, it was just a lot of excitement and a lot of energy. And Bushland does too, but like Jason, his composure on the bench, it's just like nothing ever phases him. It's never like he just gets just angry or anything. It's just always the same, and he just goes and talks to them, and then they do it, and then it's ready to go. So, it should be a good matchup. It should be a good matchup. And then at 1 o'clock is the 3A Division II. It's going to be Clifton, Joy, Holzman. They have two tournament appearances, or one a tournament appearance. This will be their second appearance. At playing Boyd, which is Clark Oberle. Three tournament appearances, four including this year.
I'm going to jump in on this one first because we just lost to Boyd in the semifinals, and that was our first appearance in the state tournament as our program, and so they are probably one of the most solid teams I've seen. I mean, you look at their hitting percentages, they're averaging in the high 30s for the season. They don't make mistakes. They go long rallies and they kind of expect you to make the mistake, and they have their middle blockers 6 foot, and she can get to the pins pretty good. Their outsides, little Jacqueline Starnes, she's a sophomore, and she's kind of the sleeper of the group. But they are just a very consistent team. They don't make mistakes, and
and Clark,
yeah,
Clark, maybe Boyd's numbers, they've been there 3 or 4 times. But Coach Overly's been there twice with them. He went with Decatur and won it a couple of times. He went with Argyle and won it a couple of times. So he clearly knows what it takes to get the job done and get his girls prepared for a match this year. So it's pretty impressive to be at 3 different schools and he was at Frisco Liberty, which just ended up losing in the state semifinal to Argyle as well. But he was there for a couple of years as well, but to go with 3 different teams, I mean, that just says a lot about you as a coach for sure. So what's this very impressive resume?
He definitely has them prepared. We take pride in attack, serving aggressively and taking people out of system early on. And their libero, I don't think she made a mistake all night. I mean, every pass was on target, and they just didn't have a weak spot. They're a solid team all around, and he's done a phenomenal job of getting them ready. I haven't seen Clifton, but Boyd's just going to be steady.
Yeah, and just to add to that for Boyd, it's Clark Oberle's swan song too. He announced his
Yes.
retirement after
Yes.
35 years, so he's hoping to get, like I said, his third team to a state title.
Yeah, I watched their regional final game against Paradise, and that was a knockdown, drag out, like high emotion game. Lots of fans, and so I mean, there was an amazing opportunity for them to play. Play.
I'm sure both towns came to play because they are like 15 miles apart.
Yes,
district rivals in the regional finals is always a good matchup. But
for sure.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Senior heavy too. I think their team seems pretty senior heavy. I talked to a couple other coaches and they said Clifton is like a much more like they're just pretty balanced. They have a lot of different people who can hit, and so that's helpful. Their coach apparently, I guess, I don't know her, but I guess she was there in '99 when they went to state, and now she came back and has the daughters of the kids that she had on her original team.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
Kind of a cool story that they have going on there, and a little bit of a fighter team.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see them in person.
I know. This is like the highlight of my Thanksgiving is coming to the tournament.
Same.
Everybody. And then getting to eat turkey afterwards. All right, so we're going to move on to the 4A Division I. That game will be at 4 o'clock on Friday. And so Decatur, Stormy Snyder is going to be, she has 7 tournament appearances. They won it in 2014. It's playing Lavernia, Danielle Coleman. This will be their first tournament appearance.
So I played Lavernia. We played him for a warm-up match, and we had two of our best kids out. And I honestly didn't know a lot about them other than she asked me to play. I heard they were pretty good, so I said, let's play. But they are the real deal. Their pin hitters are insane good. They have one going to Arkansas, one going to DBU, and they will find whatever hole you give them through the block, and they'll put it down. Just heavy arms. Great job. They had a player go down on the right side that got injured. That was also she's going to UCO. She was very good. Their middles can hit the ball. They just do a really good job of keeping the ball in play too. Their defense does a great job. Their libero is going, I believe, to Texas State. But they're well coached, and I think that they just do a really good job playing together as a team. But for sure, very pin heavy. And when you got two Terminators on the pin that come up every time and can hit the ball from anywhere, inside, outside, run the gaps, I mean, they were pretty terminal.
Yeah, talking to Susan Brewer, who just lost to them in the state semifinals, she said that, they were going to have to play pretty perfect to beat them because she knew how good that they were on the pins, and just how strong they are. One of the pins has more shots and more seam hit, the deep corners and can kind of move the ball around a little bit. And then they've got the other pin who just can, really like go after it. And it's coming pretty fast when it's coming. So
they're 6-rows, both of them. So they hit from the back row too and attack aggressively wherever they're at.
Absolutely. And if, I think they've been, losing to Belleville, a couple of years in a row to get here. So I think that, again, you could look back to those moments of like, we battle tested to get to this point. And so we're going to give it our all. So I'm excited to see those, based on what Susan said, I'm excited to see this team in person and see how big they are. And they're going to give Decatur a run for their money, and being a Decatur myself, up here, I'm proud of what they've done. This is they're returning for a second year. And I told, Coach Snyder, I was like, it's really hard to get to that top of the mountain, but it's really, even harder to stay there. And so the fact that she's gotten this team back, ending up in a third place situation out of her tough district, I'm just really proud of her for keeping these, kids focused, and for just pushing them to believe in themselves. Because it clearly, like, ending up third in your district and making it to the state tournament says a lot about, how much they had to believe in her in the process and just really, going after it when it mattered and beating Springtown, because that was a great match too, to get there.
Yeah, they're kind of led by their sophomore outside hitter, Ava Green. If she's on, it's tough. They also have a senior setter that runs a 5-1, and their libero is really good. We ended up playing them the very first week of the season at our tournament in the finals, and they're just really good, and they just continue to improve. And like I said, they're in that district with Eagle Mountain, who's in the state championship in Division II, and then them and Springtown split with each other, and they had a seeding game to play each other, see which way they went. They both ended up getting to the regional semifinals, I guess, and playing each other again. So, I mean, 3 of the teams in that district were in the chance to make it to state. So it just kind of tells you a lot about that district and how competitive they were.
All right. So then on Friday night at 6, it's going to be the 4A Division II, Wimberley with Misty Rimmers. Wimberley has 12 state appearances. Their last victory was in 2024. It's going to be playing Eagle Mountain. Catherine Forrester, and this is their first tournament appearance. So yeah, Eagle Mountain, I got to watch them play recently, and because we're actually Division 1 4A, but they're Division 2 4A, and they knocked our big district rival out of the playoffs. And so that's the game that I watched, and it was just amazing how dynamic that they were. It was just amazing to watch.
We got to play them in a warm-up match, and Catherine called, and props to Catherine too. She made it to the state tournament with Hereford. She went with Decatur and won it. And so this is her third school to bring to the state tournament. So again, it looks back, you look at coaches and what they do for programs, and it just says a lot about her that she's found that buy-in quickly at this school. It's only been open for 2 years. So, yeah, we played them and it was not pretty. we beat them in set 1, and then they came back in set 2, 3, and 4, and just they were so good in system, and they worked so hard to keep themselves in system so that they could feed their big middle that's going to Nebraska. And so you kind of focus on her because, like, she's big enough and scary enough that you're just like, okay, we got to maintain her. But really, she obviously did great, but then her pins just lit up against us. They have the commit going to A&M on, and she can play both outside and right side. And, they moved her to the right in our match. And she just went to town against us. So, but their back row is so impressive because we've got some pretty good outsides and right side, and we have great middles too, but their back row just picked us apart and really just turned the ball to keep them in system so that they could run such a fast offense. So, and their setter is good. They run a 5-1 as well with their setter. But yeah, that was a good match, and they're big and they're scary for sure. But it's only year 2 for them, which is super impressive. Yeah.
We played them too, so I'm gonna piggyback on that. And they for sure, I mean, you think you sit on that middle, and then they just go to the pin to Brooke, or they go to the right side. But I will also have to say that their back row is impressive. Like, their defense is really good, keeps them in system so that they can feed those kids all the time. And they look really, really good as a team. Wimberley, I've watched a little bit of their games. They have the little freshman who's coming in, Trinity Laney. She's doing a really good job for them, helping add in some of those pieces because they lost one of their big pieces last year as she graduated. So hats off to Missy for getting them back. That's a tremendous job by them.
Absolutely. I mean, in such school history at Wimberley, at Wimberley High School, they've been to the state tournament so many times. They kind of just live and breathe the state tournament. So you got to know that these kids were, 4, 5, and 6 watching, their sisters or cousins or neighbors playing in the state tournament. So they do a really good job in that area of really just teaching and promoting their program at such a young age. And so, it says a lot to continue to get back to this point, year after year for Wimberley High School.
Yeah, they have 2 setters going to college. Carson Peoples is going to UT Permian Basin. Skylar Herring, the other setter, is going to Blinn College. They got a middle going to UT Tyler. Lily Sandoval, an outside, going to University of Mary Hardin Baylor. So they have a lot of college commits. I just don't know if Kiani Williams going to Nebraska for Eagle Mountain, and Brooke Lacewell going to A&M. See if they can kind of keep it up. But she said basically her right sides are going to have to be really, really good.
And her defense. Both sides for sure.
Yes. Okay, on Saturday at 11 a.m., we're going to have the 5A Division 1, which is A&M Consolidated. Laura Kornick, they have, including this year, 3 tournament appearances, is playing Dallas Highland Park. Michael Dearman, 3 tournament appearances, including this year as well.
Yep, I was unfortunately the we played both of them and lost to both of them at some point throughout our season. We played A&M Consolidated down at the KDISC tournament early on in August, and they just, super, like, kind of a small team as far as just number wise. They just and they're not really big kids either on the other side of the net, but man, they play so hard, and their ball control is unbelievable. They're so dynamic as far as keeping the ball in play. They really make you work so hard to score points, and so at the end of the day, they kind of wear you down a little bit. And so we lost to them in 3 at that tournament, and it showed because we were having to, rally 4, 5, 6 times to gain a point. And they're just so impressive. They have an outside that's real jumpy. I'm sure, Kara, you'll know her name. But I was glad to play them. And
his daughter is a freshman, and she's a little beast out there.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. That's awesome. And they have a pretty big size middle that's, but not like your typical middle look. She kind of just throws herself kind of all over the net from pin to pin and can run kind of any kind of tempo set between the pins. And it's really hard to defend them. And like I said, it just makes you work really hard to get the ball, or to score a point. So they really just wear you down. And then we lost to Highland Park. in the state semifinals just last weekend, and they're completely different. They're massive. They're so big on the other side of the net. 6'5", 2 6'4" kids, a 6'2" kid, and a middle that, is so fast, so hard to defend. They run a 5'1" with a setter that's, about 5', 5'2", and they just run such a dynamic system where they're so smart in the way that they play, and they're so smart when they have that setter in the front row that they switch block a lot. And honestly, the libero Gigi just does a phenomenal job too. We played them earlier in the season and beat them in 5, with a couple kids on both sides of the net being out. And then they turned around and they just gave it to us last Saturday. They served us so well. They kept us out of system. They're so aggressive. They're so big and powerful. Their block is massive. So it's going to be interesting to see, I think, this matchup, because you've got the scrappy, kind of keep the ball in play, make you really work very hard for your points, and A&M Consolidated to, a Highland Park team that is, they're just such a good team, like with each other. They've really have very senior heavy, and they just did a really good job of just, terminating the ball so well. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this game goes. It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I watched the A&M Console game against the Broncos. I was really impressed. Honestly, I didn't know how the game was going to go. I was very impressed with their ability. They have so much fight in them. And just like you said, like the ball just wouldn't hit the ground. Not that anything was just like the super heavy arm. I mean, granted, they've got great hitters. And that little outside does a really, really good job. It's the coach's daughter. I believe it's her first year there. The coach may be her second. But yeah, she did a phenomenal job, Harper. And then they have a little middle also that's there. I think they're M2, which is interesting. Her mom and I played college together and volleyball together. So now she's playing, and we both have daughters that are freshmen. So it's funny. But yeah, and then Highland Park, of course, they got 6 committed kids. They're just massive, massive. They're fun to watch. They're really fun. So it'll be interesting.
Yes, they're very fun to watch.
Almost. What happened?
No, I'm proud of Michael. I think that it's, they've had so many good teams, and I wish Katie was still here because they were in their district with Frisco Reedy, and I know she's seen them firsthand over the last 2 years, and I feel like last year they were really good as well. And I feel like this year their team is just really good, and I feel like they've made it about their team, and I feel like Michael's done a really good job with that, and they celebrate so well together. You can just completely tell that they're in it for each other, and I think that speaks volumes to Coach German over there. So, Nick, you got to watch that match.
Yeah, they just do. Highland Park's just they're big. They're a college team as far as like the physicality. They do, like I said, their setter doesn't block in the front row, so it's unusual. But their middles and right side or outsides and right sides, they'll flip, like I said, and there's not no time that there's not at least 2 hands, maybe even 4. But that middle does such a good job of taking away stuff. But they serve really tough, and it'll be interesting to see kind of which style prevails, like the big and physical, or kind of if A&M Consolidated can keep those rallies going, it'd be an interesting match.
I agree. Okay, so let's move on to Division 2. 5A Division 2 is going to be at 1 o'clock on Saturday. We have Cedar Park with Coach Lori McLaughlin. This will be their 4th tournament appearance. They're going to be playing Argyle, which is Caitlin Johnson as the head coach. And they have 7 tournament appearances, and they won in 2015.
I didn't. Go ahead.
What did you say?
Claire. Go ahead, Claire.
Oh gosh. Well, I didn't get to see Argyle in person this year. I just know Caitlin does such a good job there. She's so meticulous. She's a great scouting coach. She can pick a team apart, just on such small details. And she always does a really good job with her team. She's got a freshman outside that is just kind of leading this team and then is unbelievable as a pin hitter and, really just never plays like a freshman. So that's really impressive. And then we got the chance to play in Cedar Park also down in Katy at that tournament. And they've got the big senior outside who's going to Stanford. And, Lori does, she's phenomenal. Again, they're both so precise and so good at, the small details. It'll be interesting to see kind of what Nick said earlier, like which outside steps up and prevails. It's the senior one or the freshman one. And so it'll be an interesting matchup between these two. And the coaches are both so disciplined and so good. So I'm anxious to see this match for sure.
Yeah, Lori is awesome at Cedar Park. She's super fun. Like she's very knowledgeable, very detail oriented. They're going to look for Joy probably, I would imagine. But they've got some really other good kids. They've got
Oh,
Caitlin.
yeah.
They've got the setter, Sibliosa. I mean, they've got a lot of good kids and a lot of big commits. But then, like you're saying, Argyle, Coach Johnson, from what I know, I didn't get to watch him play this year, but she basically they just take away whatever you want to try to do to them. They're going to take that away and not let you do it to them. And they do a great job with scouting. And it's just a very, very well rounded, like versatile team, in my opinion, is what I've seen and what I've heard.
Yes. No, she's had a couple of really good teams these last couple of years. So I'm excited that she got to this point with her team this year. And I'm excited for her as a coach. I think it's her first time. I could be wrong, but I think it's her first time to make it to the state finals for sure. So
That'd be awesome. Okay. Y'all ready to move on to 6A? All right, so on Saturday at 4, we're going to have the 6A Division 1 where Pearland Dawson, coached by Lauren Leth, is the first state tournament appearance, is going to be playing Byron Nelson. Brienne Groth, third state appearance. They won in 2019 and 2024.
Oh, Byron, an undefeated season. It would be really cool to see that like play out. I think that there's not been very many teams at the state tournament that have made that happen. Maybe Lake Travis, if I remember correctly, was the last team to make that happen. But they, Brienne and Coach Groth, she just had babies. She just had twins. So to be able to coach a team like this and to continue on in the midst of that experience it speaks volumes to how disciplined the girls are and how much fight that they've got in them. And they have, they want to repeat. They want to set like a new standard for themselves. And she's got the team to do it. They returned pretty much everybody from last year's team and gained another middle. And so they obviously run a 5-1 with Sophie Peterson, who's going to A&M, and man, she's a stud. She's so fun to watch, play the game. And she's so smart. And obviously I'm sure Bree is just, she was an amazing setter herself at OU. So I'm sure Sophie's just gained so much knowledge from her and she's just so athletic and just can really turn the ball in the front row and just run a very smooth offense, right when you think that you got it figured out, you don't. I'm excited for Dawson, it being their first year to get there. Obviously, they're doing something really good to get out of that region and to get out of that area in Houston. And I know that they're big and physical, so it'll be interesting to see this matchup as far as how this, setter versus and really good pins from Byron Nelson play against a really big physical team in Dawson.
Yeah, Say and Kleckner are the two outsides from Byron, and they'll swing back row, front row on the pin, and they'll move them inside, they'll move them behind. They're the Max Preps. They're the number one team in the nation right now. They haven't lost since last year at Hawaii against Highland Park, I think. And so they've had a phenomenal run. Their varsity assistant has coached them the last 3 rounds in the playoffs. And so Bree will be back on the sidelines this week. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's I know Pearland's physical. They have some big right sides. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup of can their big right sides slow down the outsides of Byron because the outsides get 80% of the balls. And so kind of see that matchup. It'd be fun to watch.
And Terry Wade from the Woodlands had mentioned that Dawson is the first high school in their school district to make it to the state final. They've only lost 9 sets all season, 22 wins in a row. They have 14 seniors. And this is Dawson's 17th year as a new Pearland ISD school.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had a phenomenal 5-set match against San Antonio O'Connor,
Oh yeah, I did watch that.
and that was a pretty pretty high level volleyball match, and I think both of those teams could have won it, and Dawson just made the right plays at the right time to finish it off.
Yeah.
That fifth set went at 17-15 or something. I mean, it's pretty close all the way through. Pretty
Yeah.
wild.
That's awesome. I'm excited for them to get there. You know, that says a lot about that area and the growth of volleyball down in the Pearland area, for sure.
Okay, so then our last matchup of the tournament is the 6A Division II. That'll take place on Saturday at 6 o'clock. We're going to have South Lake Carroll, who's coached by Leslie Jackson, has, including this year, 3 tournament appearances, is going to be playing Austin, which is Kylie Woods, uh, including this year, 2 state appearances, and they won it back in 1992.
Wow. Well, we got to face South Lake early on in a scrimmage, and I actually coached myself. I coached Leslie, the coach over there, so kind of full circle for me. And I'm so proud of her in the work that she's done over at South Lake Carroll and for getting them back to the tournament. You know, she was a phenomenal player herself. She's very high level volleyball IQ. She knows the game so well. She kind of speaks it and breathes it. So I'm looking forward to kind of what she brings to the state tournament for that group. But man, they've got such a dynamic middle that's going to TCU, who is so fun to watch. They've got really good pin hitters. I mean, they're just a very balanced team. They block really well. They're extremely disciplined. Their setters, you know, they do such a good job of running a full offense. You know, you just really don't know where the ball is going to go. You know, obviously the big middle is so dynamic and runs the slide so well. But I'm really excited for Leslie. I unfortunately didn't get to see Austin play this year and don't know much about them, but it speaks volumes for them to get back to the state tournament. You know, and after winning it in 1992, that says so much about that area, and the growth of volleyball there as well. So. But I look forward to Saturday afternoon and getting to see, you know, those 2 teams out of the same district also making it to the state tournament.
Yeah, South Lake Carroll they have a really tough 6A district, and their blockers are really, really big for sure. I did get to watch a little bit of Austin High. I didn't play them, but I got to watch them. Their UT commit, Camille Presley in the middle, is phenomenal.
Okay.
Super good job. Really fun to watch again. They got a USC commit. They've got an Arkansas commit going to Maggie McCarroll. So they've got some seniors that are really heavy that kind of lead their team and kind of rally everyone. They had pretty sure their last game or the one before that was a reverse sweep. So they were down and then they were able to come back and win. So it shows a lot of like just pride and a lot of heart that they have and that they don't want to go down. And so it's pretty neat to see them come back. I mean, their school is like the oldest school in Texas or something.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool and unique. So I'm excited to see that matchup to see how they handle it with the big blockers. And they've got big hitters on the other side to see kind of how that plays out, what happens there.
I think this is the first time we've talked about it being like 2 really big middles kind of going to battle across the net from each other. I think that's really cool. And just awesome to see.
Should be a good game, I would think.
Yeah, just seems to me like a classic 6A match with a lot of firepower on both sides. South Lake has 7 kids going college D1, maybe 1 or 2 going to D2, and then obviously the 2 big commits. I mean they beat Dripping Springs in 4, and like I said, beat Katie Tompkins in 5, and so they're battle tested. Both of those teams are really good. But like I said, South Lake was in the Byron district and got out of that, and both of those teams are in the state finals. Should be an interesting match.
Yes. That's like South Lake Carroll, Coach Wade said has only had 4 losses and 2 of them were to Byron Nelson. So and I think Austin only had 5 total losses this season. So I mean it should be a pretty good matchup.
How many teams are there that are coming from the same district? Like so we've got Byron and South Lake. We've got Decatur and Eagle Mountain.
Decatur, Eagle Mountain, Um,
And it's a 2A district. Is it Leon and Iola maybe?
I was gonna say, I think they are in the same district.
Wow, that's
I
crazy.
I
Maybe
gotta
it
look.
speaks to your district play and the competitiveness of how that kind of helps you,
Yeah.
down the stretch for sure is, getting exposed a little early and kind of seeing what we can do to fix things. And, that just speaks volumes to those districts that they can get there. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
'cause those third and fourth place teams can be blasting out other districts just because they're just not as strong, a lot weaker.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm excited about this weekend. I think that there's going to be a lot of really good volleyball. I feel like this is one of my favorite times of the year, and getting to watch and getting to be around all these wonderful coaches and getting to see all these teams and kind of how they change and the details and how they like scout each other. I think it's just going to be a really, really good time for sure.
And just throwing a plug in there, all the games are going to be streamed on the NFHS network. So get your subscriptions ready.
There you go.
No, it'll be great. I hope to see all of you there.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, I'll be there.
Sarah, you get to come up.
I'm gonna try to. My kids have basketball games, so I gotta be mom now. I have twins too, like you. So,
Oh,
yes, I have boy-girl twins. They're actually freshmen in high school now, but them and then my little one plays basketball too. So my daughter played volleyball, and then my son is playing basketball right now. So I gotta. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna try to fly up. Also, my big commit to SMU is playing this weekend on Sunday, so I'm gonna try to maybe hit both at the same time because have a home game. So maybe I can watch Maggie play and the state game. We'll see.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, safe travels to you if you get to make it.
Yes. Thanks.
Thank
I
y'all
want
again. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
it's
guys
been
you.
for
fun.
being guest speakers on our show tonight. And I'm hoping to see all of y'all at the tournament. Safe travels. And again, thank you so much.
Yes.
See y'all later.
See you later.
Bye.